Hey, Portfolio crew. It is good to see you guys. Before you set off on your grand journey out of here, I just wanted to share a few things with you guys about my path and some things I learned along the way that I hope that you find helpful. I'm going to pack a lot into this. Stick with me if you can. It means a lot to me, and I care a lot about you guys, so I wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was important. And I apologize if you've heard some of this before, okay? But stick with me. I promise you, it'll pay off if you can take it in and listen, okay? So today we're going to talk about getting gritty. This is the most important trait that you can have is grit. And when I talk about grit, that means that that is about resilience, right? About sticking with stuff and going after what you want. So we're gonna do a little time traveling. Okay, we're gonna go back to where all this started. So we're gonna go back in time. Oh, there's me. We're gonna do some time traveling. Went a little too far. A little too far. We're gonna go back to UW Whitewater. Okay, UW Whitewater. That's where I went to school. And UW Whitewater is great. I went to school for art and with an emphasis in graphic design and a multimedia design minor, which was like, web design, flash, motion design, video editing, audio editing, all that stuff. But the interesting thing being it was an art program was that a lot of my even graphic design projects were like, make a poster about a dream you had. It was very much not tailored to the working world. So as I was going through the program, I ended up getting a job on campus, and I was doing really good in school. I was like top of my class, and I did everything right. I always went above and beyond my projects. If they said make a 2-minute video, I'm making a 10-minute video. If they asked for 3 things, I'm giving them 10 things. If just always going above and beyond. And I had a job on campus. I was getting paid to make ugly brochures and terrible posters, and so I thought I was in really, really good shape. And this is what I thought getting a job would be like after going to college. All right, so you just jump right in, we're good to go. That's all you got to do, right? And this is more like what getting a job is going to feel like after college. All right, so this is what it feels like. We're going for it, and maybe not. Maybe it's going to be a little harder than we thought, because this is what it's really like. And you might have seen this before. I actually saw this from Martha Kerrigan, who talked to you guys before. And this is the perfect example of exactly how to get to where you want to be. It's a series of small steps. And so for me, when I was in school, nobody ever talked about jobs or what you're going to do afterwards and all this stuff. And at the end of my school there was a new instructor. Her name was Renee Melton. She's an amazing designer, and she had worked at agencies. And all of a sudden, she's like, Jarrell, like, what she actually said to me one day, what are you doing here? And she told me about agencies, and I was like blown away. I had no concept of what this was all about. And she's like, you got to check out this place called Planet Propaganda. I was like, okay. And I saw their stuff, and it completely changed my world. And I knew that when I was getting out of school that I knew this is what I wanted to do. So after I graduated, there was a job posting for Planet Propaganda for like a mid-level, it could have even been senior level graphic designer position. And I was determined to go for it. And so I bought this action figure, and now the packaging is different. But so what I did was I used to have hair, so I painted his hair blonde, and I redid the packaging. I put my resume on it. I made them this custom book. I made them a custom beer bottle label, kind of in their style or their sense of humor. And what else did I make? I made a bunch of stuff. I don't know, a bunch of crazy stuff. And I put it all in this wood box. I spray painted the wood box, Planet Propaganda, made it look super cool. And I hand delivered it. And I really put in a ton of effort to go for this thing. And so I made this custom promo piece just for them, just for this job. And it was pretty crazy. So I I got a call. I got a phone call. I got a phone call back from them. And I was like, yes, this is it. I'm going to do it. They like me. This is all good. So then, here's me. I put on my uniform that I wore to the movie theater when I was a manager at the movie theater. So I got my shirt and tie, probably smelled like butter and popcorn, and walking into this beautiful space. Seeing these posters that I had seen in all the award books and things that I was just completely, people walking around with tattoos and looking super cool. And here I am, some punk kid from Janesville, Wisconsin, coming in, looking like I work at a movie theater. And then, I brought in everything I'd ever made. I brought in literally every project from college, no filter. We're talking even like drawings and random stuff, and just everything I'd ever made from a child. I brought in all my awards, my taekwondo trophies, my good job school awards, all my drawings. Maybe some of that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I did bring in stuff like this. And to me, this was the piece that was going to get me a job there. Like, this was a real brochure I'd made for UW-Whitewater. It was like 100 pages. I thought it was the best thing in the world. And, when I was showing my work, it was so weird. I met with Kevin Wade and Travis Kane, who now works at Pentagram. And Kevin Wade's like the founder of Planet. And when I'm looking around the room, and this is literally their reaction. Like, they started off all positive, all smiles. They brought in the box that I had made them. And then as we're looking through the work, it's just this big shift. Like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I got some incredible feedback in that meeting. It ended up turning into more of a portfolio review, which I couldn't have been more thankful for. And they were so gracious. I mean, they were trying to help me. And they taught me a few things that day. Only show your best work. And so that was a big thing for me. I always thought that I had to demonstrate every skill, everything I could ever do, and show everything I'd ever made. Only showing your best work. Because if you show other stuff, it's like showing your weaknesses. They told me to study great work. And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. And they told me to focus on my typography. And when I thought that, I was like, I know how to pick a typeface from a menu. I didn't know anything about type. And so, they told me to focus on type. And I was like, okay. And they said, keep working. And the kind of stuff that got me in the door is the thing that I need to make more of. So they said, like, where you're at now, the box that you made, this is cool. Everything else needs to go. And that's it. And also they taught me, don't dress like a banker, right? These are cool people. You can be cool, So after that meeting, I felt like I got my butt kicked. I was pretty devastated, and it's silly looking back on it. This was like my first interview out of school, and that was like an incredible opportunity. But for me, it really was the thing that I needed to get fired up about this. And so, I ended up taking an unpaid internship. It was a small design firm on the west side of Madison. It was literally just me and the boss for most of the time there. And I thought that was a step down. I thought that was a step back, because I was getting paid as a designer on campus. And there's two things I need to tell you. One, it was the best decision I ever made. And two, man, my boss was a devil. He was the worst human being I've ever met. I have insane stories about this guy. If you want, email me. Maybe we'll chat a little bit. But he was an incredible designer, and he taught me really how to look at things and typography and all the details that went into the work. I mean, the logo on the right there, it's nothing incredible, but like, he made me print out that type at 5 point, 4.9, 4.8, 4.7, 4.6. Like, all of these like minute changes that we looked at together, and we talked about the differences. And that was huge. And I was going to client meetings on my own. I was going to press checks. Like I got to actually design that envelope and even the shape of it and all that stuff, and go to press checks. And I mean, it was incredible. I'm like building websites for people on my own, and like learning how to make forms and hacking some weird code I found online that like makes the forms that I need work. And I mean, it was just crazy, all the stuff that I got just thrown into, and I had to just figure it out. So that ended up turning into part-time paid work. And so at this time, I am on the side trying to build up my portfolio. I am working 3 part-time jobs. So this unpaid internship turned into a part-time gig. I was also managing a movie theater, and I was also bartending just to pay bills. And so, I was hustling. And so then what was crazy was that unpaid internship turned into paid part-time, which then my boss ended up getting a job teaching at MIAD, the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. And they needed someone who taught Flash. And luckily I knew Flash, and he got me hooked up there, and I started teaching. Now, he got fired and tried to, I won't even go into that. Email me, okay? Uh, so I got to teach, and on the side I was still volunteering. I was doing volunteer work for Design Madison and other organizations, and just making stuff for anybody. I mean, anyone that would do it. And I was freelancing, just picking up work wherever I could, paid or not. I was just doing work. Did get one memorable rejection because I went through probably over 100 positions that I was applying to. And I ended up getting rejected from the Janesville Public Library. So this is after a year of hustling. I had rebuilt my entire portfolio, and I'd applied to literally over 100 places. And there was a part-time position at the Janesville Public Library, and I didn't get the job. And I mean, I was just devastated. Like after a year, and I'm trying to do all the right things, and it was all, I was in a bad place, really bad place. But I didn't give up, and I went to staffing agencies to try to get some help, and I went to even a portfolio school. If you guys are interested in that, there's one in Milwaukee. If you look up Milwaukee Portfolio School, there is a portfolio school in Milwaukee. I was doing portfolio reviews. I begged Distillery Design to meet with me, and Brad and some other folks there helped me and gave me a really awesome portfolio review. And I met with Mark from Zebra Dog. I mean, just getting feedback. And at that time, I was so down. And I just remember Mark told me, like, don't let anyone tell you you're not good. And he could tell that I needed a boost. And man, I so much appreciated that. So after a year of all this hustling, making up new work, I had a totally new portfolio. Nothing from school made it in my portfolio. And this was some, like the stuff I was doing from Design Madison on the left. I was making self-promo pieces and like really trying to find ways to separate myself from the crowd. I made this fortune cookie box on the lower right that I put in little dumb messages into fortune cookies and drop them off places. Like literally, I mean, 80 is a underestimate. 80 plus job attempts. I got 3 offers finally. And these were from agencies. These weren't from print shops or stuff like that. I mean, actually was very lucky that I had 3 offers, and I ended up, feeling like I was just on top of the world. And so finally, I made my decision on where I wanted to go, and Hebing was it. And I started off as a junior interactive designer, and I worked my way up to senior art director partner. And so that's over 10 years. And I was one of the youngest partners in the history of the agency. And I hustled. I've always hustled really hard. I've always tried to, every opportunity, everything that comes up, always exceed expectations. That's, if someone says, I need one thing, it's give them 10 things. I mean, it's just, you got to put your heart into it. And, I got to make some really fun work. My time there has been awesome. And that led me here, And, this idea of grit and resilience, it's not an isolated thing. I think about Courtney. I don't know if you guys know if Courtney talked about any of this stuff, but like she was a nanny in Russia for like I think like a year or something crazy like that to make money so that she could afford to go to school. And she like took an unpaid internship at a book editor just so she could learn. And this was not illustration or anything art related. Like she was literally like reviewing work and then seeing how the editors picked uh, the books that got published because she was trying to learn about that industry. So it wasn't even related to what she wanted to do, but she was trying to learn. And you know, you think about that grit that it takes to do that kind of stuff, the sacrifices that she made. I mean, incredible. And look what she's doing now. You know, I mean, it's pretty awesome. So as you guys are setting off into the world, go for everything. Go for everything. A lot. I mean, hundreds. Any job you see, go for it. It doesn't matter the experience level. Even if it's senior level, hey, they could hire probably 3 junior level people for the same price that they would pay a senior level person. So you never know. And you know, even if it doesn't sound that exciting or interesting, well, like I said before, I'm going to say it like a bunch. Your first job is not your forever job. Go for everything. Building up experience is important. Take every opportunity you can and run with it. Like I said, always over deliver and keep working hard for your dream job, you know? So like whatever your goal is, keep working at it. Okay. That 10,000 hour rule is a real deal thing. You know, I think about the hero that I look up to. For me, Aaron Draplin, he's got a few years on me. You know, he's, I think about, probably about 8 years older than me. And, you know, he hustles, I hustle, but, you know, he's probably worked twice as much as I have. And thinking about you guys, where you're at, you know, you're just digging in. Like, I could visibly tell when I probably hit about 10,000 hours worth of work, and that was when I did the flat colo work for heaping. And it's really an important thing to put in the time. And also, this should make you feel better about all the cool people that you're seeing online. Like, think about how many hours Draplin has put in versus where you're at. You guys are doing, like, in reality, in terms of the work that you guys are producing, you guys are creeping up on me for sure. I see work that you guys do that I'm like, dang, this is crazy. So keep at it. Keep at it. Keep looking at great work every day. The more you study great work, the more you take time to break it down and analyze it, the better you get. It's just how it goes. Keep creating new work that reflects where you want to be. So, okay, let's say that you get a job. Your first couple jobs, probably you're not going to be creating portfolio quality work. It's just the way it goes. So you're going to want to keep creating pieces on the side, even if it's just for you. You know, it's always kind of crazy when I look at portfolios of students that have been out for a few years and their portfolios are exactly the same as they were in school. I mean, to me, you should be at least creating 3 to 4 new pieces a year. I mean, minimum. For me, I blew up my whole portfolio in a year. So, keep making work that reflects where you want to be and what you really want to do. Okay, even if that's on the side, right? Like I still do this. I volunteer for a restaurant in Janesville. Like I have some friends that open up a restaurant. I think they're doing cool stuff. So I just started throwing down posters for them. And, I get to make stuff that I think is beautiful and solid work. And they love it. They've never given me feedback. They've never said like, oh, you need to change this or do this. I'm doing it for free because I care about what they do and I'm having fun doing it. Like when all this COVID stuff started, I started making them some social media graphics just because I knew that they would need it. And it was fun for me to make. So, and I can feel good about that stuff. So don't wait for opportunities. Just make them for yourself. And make sure that you've got, okay, so this is a side one. Just make sure you got your resume on your website. Just a little plug. Don't forget about that. That's important. Surround yourself with people that motivate you to be better, whether that's people you can learn from or just, like once you start getting into work that gets a little bit easier because you should have creative directors or other designers that you can look up to. But regardless, the people that you surround yourself with, make sure that they're the ones that are motivating you to be better. Keep learning stuff. All right. This school is just one part of the puzzle. This industry changes all the time. So make sure that you keep learning new things. When I look at job results, Google graphic designer. This was one of the first things that came up. They're looking for people that we've got print, type, layout design. We've got motion graphics, video editing. We got HTML. Like literally every skill set is listed under this graphic design position. This was the first one that came up. I mean, that's crazy, right? So, when we think about our 3 programs that we've got, the graphic design program, web and digital media, Vicom, like all those things matter and they can all be a benefit. So you guys, even if let's say you're having a real hard time getting some work right now, maybe you take a class or 2 or do learning on your own online. There's plenty of great online learning opportunities. So keep building that skill set, whether you stick with us or you do it somewhere else or you do it on your own. Just keep learning. And make sure that you're hunting for jobs. You should still get the job alert emails through that I send out through the school. But Big Shoes Network, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, Behance. There's plenty more. So those are the ones that I hit up just about every week to look. But there's more. There's staffing agencies. So there's places out there that it's their job to help you get a job. They get a cut of when they get you hired in someplace. They get a cut for that. So there's places like C2 Staffing, Robert Half, there's a bunch more. Look them up. And expand your radius. Madison is a small town. If you need to stay here, that's totally understandable. It is totally possible to get a job here. But if you can start tapping into Milwaukee. When I started off, when I was working that unpaid internship, I lived in Milton, Wisconsin, which is near Janesville. Driving up to the west side of Madison, driving that awful Beltline every day, and then driving to Milwaukee, and then driving back to Milton. So I expanded my radius, and I got opportunities that led to where I am now. So, and that's not even a big radius, I mean, if you guys are up for moving or, whatever, you have way more opportunities and potential than just sticking around here. Remote work is obviously more important now than ever. So make sure that you're looking for remote work opportunities as well. And go for stuff, posted or not. Like, just go approach people and go for positions that you're not qualified for. I mean, just reach out. Reach out even if they're not hiring. You can do a lot of research on LinkedIn, and you can easily find people to connect with, to contact. This is like literally, you can search creative director on LinkedIn and see a whole bunch of people that you could reach out to for asking if they have positions open, asking for portfolio reviews. There's tons of potential. And there's things that you can do. If you can find one person's email address at a company and you can find their name, chances are you can figure out what their email address would be too, if you can't see it on LinkedIn. Like at our school, right? Like my school address is J. Dre at Madison College. So if you can see that, then you know that if someone else that worked at Madison College, you could probably figure out what their email might be. Okay, and when you reach out, think about stuff like this. So, give a little brief introduction on why you're contacting them. Maybe drop like, if you're reaching out to someone at Hebing, you could say, man, I really love that stuff you guys are doing for Culver's. That poster you made is just so good. Be specific, name a couple things. Flattery goes a long way. Then you can say, do you have any open internships or positions? If not, would it be possible to schedule a portfolio review? I'd really appreciate the opportunity to learn from you and get your feedback. That's the way to go, right? All right. So continue to seek out that feedback. That's what makes you better. It's so important, right? And there's so many factors in getting a job, like your work, how you present your work, your experience, your attitude, the competition, the cultural fit, and the timing and the budget. So the stuff on the left is all stuff that you can control. If you're getting interviews but you're not getting jobs, that means that you're close. If you're not getting interviews, that means that there's some more stuff that you got to work on. Maybe you need, like if you're not getting the job, that might mean that you're one or two portfolio pieces away from getting it. If you're not getting an interview, you probably have a few more things that you have to do. Maybe it's learn a new skill set. Maybe it's trying to build up some experience somehow. Even if that's volunteer work or free work or whatever, but something that you can list on your resume or, you know, anything. So that stuff on the left is stuff that you have control over. The stuff on the right are things that are just, you know, that's what happens. You never know. So even that job at the Janesville Public Library that I talked about before, I was so bummed about it. I found out that the person that got hired was the niece of someone that worked there. I didn't learn that until a couple years later, but, you know, made me feel a little bit better because you never know. And so you guys, this is a designer in Janesville. She owns her own business. When I think about the work that we do, I think about the work that you guys do. And I see people out there that are making a living, maybe starting a business or whatever. You guys do some pretty incredible things. That's all I'm going to say. So when I see work like this, people out there doing it, you know, a big part of it is the quality of your work, but also a big part of it is just the hustle. So keep that in mind, okay? Remember, your first job is going to be the toughest to get. So be passionate. If you can be excited about the work and you can show people that you care about them. Think about, that's how I got in the door at Planet, was because I showed that I cared. I made them a thing. I made them feel special, and they saw that I loved the work. So I've literally said, nobody loves this stuff more than I do in interviews all the time. You know, why should I hire you? I love this. This is exactly what I want to do. And that could have been, at the time, that could have been making, like, you know, silly little ads in newspapers or working for a print shop or whatever. Like, I love this stuff. So whatever it is, whatever's going to get me going and get me in the door, yeah, I'm down. So be passionate about the work. And don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for that perfect opportunity. Keep making small steps. Because your first job is not going to be your forever job. All right. So it's just a step along the way. So keep working hard. Don't give up. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Things never happen as fast as we want. So just keep at it. If you stay gritty, stay resilient, it will come together. Okay. So it took me a year to get pretty much like a legit job. And that was hustling really, really hard. So just know that this portfolio stuff, it's never done. It's never done. I'm still working on mine. Oh my goodness. We always have your back. If you guys need help with anything, just because classes are done, whatever, you guys know you can reach out to any of your faculty, especially me. So just be humble, be passionate, and be gritty, you guys. Get out there. And please, please, please stay in touch. So that's what I got for you guys. It has been such a pleasure working with all you guys, and just know that, you know, we've got your back if you need anything. That's all I can say. So I wish I could be there to give you a big old high five and a big hug. But, you know, this is what it is. So please take care of yourself, and I hope that this was helpful. All right, take care.